Zodiac signs that do not know how to love. Why are some people able to dissolve in love, while others seem to be born without this gift? Why are some people ready to give their hearts completely, while others remain cold and unapproachable even in the closest relationships? The secret lies in their zodiac sign. There are those who find it difficult to open up, who do not know how to truly love, and this is no accident. Their souls are structured differently. Today, I will reveal the signs that are unable to love in the way that those around them expect. Their attractiveness is enormous, but behind it lies an emptiness of feelings, a lack of understanding of other people's emotions, and a fear of opening up. This knowledge will help you understand who is safe for your heart to be around and who you should be wary of in relationships. Watch this video to the end, and you will find out who lives without the ability to truly love. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on new candid analyses of the secrets of the zodiac. And write in the comments, do you recognize such people among your acquaintances? The first sign is Aries. Aries is always characterized by intensity and straightforwardness, but it is in love that these qualities become his weakness. He does not know how to give space and demands an immediate response to his feelings. Where tact is needed, he uses force. Where gentleness is important, he issues ultimatums. As a result, love becomes an arena for proving his own rightness. Aries perceives his partner as someone who must match his internal pace and is rarely able to adapt to the needs of others. In relationships, he tries to control every movement, every word. His directness hurts, although he himself does not consider it a problem. Sincerity from Aries sounds like a sentence. They are unable to smooth things over and often destroy relationships where a compromise could have been found. For them, admitting mistakes is almost impossible, because admitting means losing, and they are not used to losing. Aries does not tolerate pauses well. His partner's silence is like an insult to him. He demands a reaction, emotions, proof, and if there is none, he begins to press even harder. This style of behavior makes love with him exhausting. He wants constant passion and forgets that relationships are based not only on passion, but also on calmness. A particular problem for Aries is intolerance of weakness. They are unable to be supportive when their partner is broken. Instead of comfort, they offer criticism or ridicule. They think this will spur them on, but in fact, it destroys them. Aries can love sincerely, but they express it through actions that are perceived as pressure. The difficulty is that they are not even aware of their own inability to love truly gently. They see themselves as generous and devoted, but their way of expressing their feelings is through control and demands. Their partner feels that they must comply, must be strong, must keep up. This turns love into an endurance test, and yet, Aries has enormous potential for change hidden within. Their energy could be a source of care, their determination a source of protection, their honesty a source of support. But until he learns to listen, restrain his impulses, and give space, his love will remain more of a struggle than tenderness. And this is precisely why Aries often does not know how to love the way others expect him to. The second sign is Scorpio. Scorpio is often described as the sign of passion, obsession, and ultimate intensity. But behind this aura of mystery lies a paradox. They do not always know how to love in the way that builds harmony. For Scorpio, love is rarely gentle. It is fire, control, and testing boundaries. Instead of offering calm affection, they approach relationships like a battlefield where power, loyalty, and secrecy dominate every interaction. They crave love but transform it into a challenge, a game of survival where only the strongest bonds endure. In this way, Scorpio becomes both irresistible and destructive. They desire depth, yet sometimes drown the very connection they wish to preserve. One of Scorpio's struggles lies in their instinct to control. They equate love with possession, as though the heart of their partner must belong to them entirely, without room for independence. To them, a lover's world should revolve around their presence. But this demand suffocates those who long for balance. Scorpio believes intensity equals devotion, yet in reality, it creates fear and distance. Their jealousy burns silently, and when insecurity grows, they act not with trust but with suspicion. Instead of opening themselves with tenderness, they interrogate with sharp glances, test loyalty, and secretly prepare for betrayal even before it arrives. Another reason Scorpio does not always know how to love is their inability to forgive lightly. When wounded, they hold on to the memory with unbreakable strength. A single mistake from a partner can remain etched in their mind forever. Love, for them, is not about forgetting. It is about surviving storms, even if those storms are of their own creation. They struggle to show vulnerability because weakness terrifies them. To love fully means to risk pain, and Scorpio shields themselves with emotional armor. This makes their love appear cold, even when their inner world is burning. They expect absolute devotion but hesitate to give the same without conditions. Their intensity also blinds them to the softer forms of love. A smile, a gentle word, a quiet evening together. These simple gestures may feel insufficient to Scorpio. They search for dramatic proof, for sacrifice, for passion that shatters boundaries. They want love to change lives, not just bring comfort. Yet, in this hunger for transformation, they forget that love also needs peace, patience, and kindness. They demand storms but fear calm waters, and so they unknowingly destroy what could have been a safe harbor. The irony is that Scorpio longs for eternal loyalty, but their way of showing love often drives others away. They test too much, expect too much, and reveal too little of their own heart. Love becomes a labyrinth where their partner must constantly prove devotion, while Scorpio watches from the shadows, unsure whether to trust. They crave honesty but hide their own secrets. They ask for vulnerability but rarely give it first. Their love feels like fire, warm, magnetic, and unforgettable, but also dangerous, leaving ashes when intensity consumes everything. Thus, Scorpio does not know how to love in the traditional sense. They know how to desire, how to possess, how to merge souls in passion and mystery, but to love gently, to accept without control, to trust without suspicion, this is where they falter. Until they learn that love is not conquest but freedom, Scorpio remains both the most fascinating and the most difficult partner of the zodiac, destined to search endlessly for a love they often do not know how to give. The third sign is Capricorn. The coldness in Capricorn's heart is not accidental, but a shield built up over many years. Where others rush into feelings, Capricorn first puts up walls. Their ability to control their emotions turns into a cold strategy. Love is seen as a deal, a union where every detail must be checked. There is no room for spontaneity inside, no willingness to take risks for the sake of another. Capricorn is capable of caring, can fulfill responsibilities, can be there in difficult moments, but sincere passion, fire in the eyes, the desire to dissolve into another, all this fades into the background. He is afraid of losing himself and therefore does not know how to truly love. For them, love is a test of reliability, a list of conditions, not a flow of emotions. Feelings turn into discipline, where there is no room for weakness. Capricorns do not admit that sometimes they want warmth, because they are used to proving their strength to the whole world, not showing vulnerability. Even if there is someone nearby who is ready to give him their heart, he is more likely to be wary than to accept this gift. Inside him, a voice constantly asks, "What will happen tomorrow? Will this union stand the test of time?" He analyzes, checks, and doubts until love turns into habit and control. Yes, he can build a house, create stability, and provide a material foundation. But deep down, his partner feels the icy breath of loneliness. For Capricorn, love is more about duty than passion, and that is why he often remains emotionally unreachable. His problem is not a lack of feelings, but his fear of showing them. As a result, you can live with him, but you can't always feel that you are truly loved. The fourth sign is Gemini. Geminis are good with words, but when it comes to love, their lightheartedness becomes a curse. Where others give their hearts, they change masks. For them, relationships are conversations, emotions, adventures, but not depth. They can charm, captivate, create the illusion of closeness, and then suddenly disappear, leaving a void. Love is too restrictive for them, too limiting to their desire for freedom. Inside Gemini, there is a constant need for novelty, and this prevents them from settling down with one person. They love attention, they love the energy of new emotions, but sincere, deep feelings scare them. When someone demands proof of love, Gemini slips away, steps aside, because they are not ready to bind themselves with obligations. Their ability to switch quickly works against them. Today they are passionate, tomorrow they are indifferent. They cannot hold on to warmth for long because it seems to them that somewhere there are even more emotions, even brighter stories. There is no malice in their hearts, but there is eternal duality. They can make promises, they can talk about feelings, but when the moment comes to act, it turns out that there were more words than real fire. Gemini know how to be friends, how to inspire, how to be there in times of joy. But in love, their fear of losing their freedom too often wins out. And that is why people often feel unloved around them, but simply part of a game in which the rules change every day. The fourth sign is Gemini. Geminis are good with words, but when it comes to love, their lightheartedness becomes a curse. Where others give their hearts, they change masks. For them, relationships are conversations, emotions, adventures, but not depth. They can charm, captivate, create the illusion of closeness, and then suddenly disappear, leaving a void. Love is too restrictive for them, too limiting to their desire for freedom. Inside Gemini, there is a constant need for novelty, and this prevents them from settling down with one person. They love attention, they love the energy of new emotions, but sincere, deep feelings scare them. When someone demands proof of love, Gemini slips away, steps aside, because they are not ready to bind themselves with obligations. Their ability to switch quickly works against them. Today they are passionate, tomorrow they are indifferent. They cannot hold on to warmth for long, because it seems to them that somewhere there are even more emotions, even brighter stories. There is no malice in their hearts, but there is eternal duality. They can make promises, they can talk about feelings, but when the moment comes to act, it turns out that there were more words than real fire. Gemini know how to be friends, how to inspire, how to be there in times of joy, but in love, their fear of losing their freedom too often wins out. And that is why people often feel unloved around them, but simply part of a game in which the rules change every day. The fifth sign is Pisces. Pisces know how to dream of love, but they don't know how to love in a way that makes the other person feel supported. Their feelings are as fluid as water. Today they are here, tomorrow they are gone. They are capable of tenderness, capable of saying the right words, but when it comes to real actions, they get lost. Pisces love the idea of love, the picture created in their imagination, rather than the real person next to them. Their heart lives on illusions, and in this illusion, their partner often remains lonely. They can inspire, they can give warmth in moments of intimacy, but this is not constancy, but flashes. Pisces slip away into their own world, where love exists only in dreams. When steadfastness is required, they step aside, hiding behind words or silence. It is easier for them to imagine love than to truly experience it. Their gentleness turns into passivity, and their tenderness into a lack of understanding of how to build relationships. Instead of fighting for their feelings, Pisces tend to sacrifice themselves, but this sacrifice rarely does any good. It turns into self-pity rather than support for their partner. Their inability to maintain boundaries makes them vulnerable and destroys trust. Love for Pisces is often more like a dream than reality. The person next to them waits for action, waits for confidence, but receives only beautiful words and soft promises. And at that moment it becomes clear. Pisces do not know how to love in a way that makes the other person feel strength and protection. They dissolve in emotions but do not build what can be called real feelings.